All right, I'm going to be reviewing today's options trades, and it did end up running just as predicted right when I got off. I traded for just under an hour, and it went pretty well. There was one more long trade or call trade to take here. Hopefully, you guys caught it, but I did not. It was super green. Didn't want to risk any of my gains. Happy with where I was. And it was a really, really rushed morning because I went to bed really late and I woke up really late. I woke up 2 minutes after market open. I rolled out of bed at 6:32. No alarm, just like panic woke up at 6:32 and was in my first trade within 30 seconds. Um, so because of that, I got a bit of a late fill, but that's okay. I still ended up being in. Here is market open. I am bearish for the gap fill. Here, it's very rare that you get big futures gaps fills. Okay, very, very rare. So yeah, that was a big deal. Also, let me see. I might have been able to get in a little bit earlier. Yeah, I filled right at the beginning of 6:33. So I was bearish for this overnight low that we made. But more so, I was bearish for the gap fill, and NQ also had a gap fill as well. That pretty much dictated my day. Oh, this is the 15-minute chart. Okay, that's why it went all the way down still. Here's the overnight low. NQ already got it. Here's the NQ gap fill here. So this bottom blue line is the gap fill. I don't know why it's not showing up on my indicator, but who cares? All right, so this is market open. I am bearish for 57.30. Okay, it was the overnight low. We've invalidated a majority of the move. I showed up to the market right as this candle closed. Right as this candle closed, this is when I showed up to the market. I filled 20 seconds after I showed up to my computer. Praise God that my Thinkorswim was already open from yesterday. I feel like 60 to 75% of the mornings, my trading view will be open, but I need to reload it because it lost connection. My trading view was open. So all I had to do is quickly switch the date on my contacts, or not contact, contracts from the 26th to the 27th, and then drop the strike like 10. Or it was more than 10. It was, I don't know, I dropped it a lot. So I immediately filled into these puts here, the SPX 3.0 puts. It sucks that I was late because this would have been my fill on this candle here, but it wasn't. Now NQ already got this low, and this next blue line is the NQ gap fill. So I'm at least bearish for the NQ gap fill, but really I'm bearish for the ES gap fill as well. You guys did end up getting a little bit better of a entry than me. It did end up, even though I was a little late and the candle closed below entry, you guys were able to get that. And so my PT was 57.20. My PT was artificially a little bit higher. For some reason, it was like 57.22. I don't know why it was that, but I altered it to 57.20 because this is the end of the gap right here. This is not part of the gap. That's not filling the gap. This is the gap right here. So that was my big PT. And we hit the first one. NQ still needed a gap fill. There it is. Now NQ looked weaker than ES, which was pretty concerning. But this is when I kind of started trimming here. Got 46% on pretty much this. Yeah, I got 46% gains here. However, I trimmed a little bit early because I thought the gap filled. My gap PT wasn't correct. It was right here when I realized, oh, 57.20 is actually my PT. So I didn't re-add yet, but I'm looking for a bounce to re-add SPX puts. Don't think I'm going to get it. And boom, I get it. I re-add puts on this bounce. Very aggressive. Very, very, very aggressive. Oh, sorry, I didn't re-add on this bounce. I re-added right after the bounce, right as the bounce started invalidating. I can't just re-add on this green candle because NQ was putting in a reversal signal. It had the lower lows with buying wicks, right? And ES also had lower lows with smaller buying wicks. So I had to wait for that green candle to invalidate. So I did re-add back to full size right as the green candle invalidated. And I was going to sell immediately when it hit 57.20, just market sell immediately because this was already a hard trade to hold. Boom, sold it right when it hit, and I literally sold the bottom. It was glorious. So I don't remember what I ended up getting percent-wise because I sold the bottom and it reversed. Let me actually check real quick. It was the 56.20 puts, and I sold them at 643. Let me check when I sold them. Oh, that's why. I only got 46%. I forgot about that. Yeah, I actually sold at like 40% there. Even though it was all the way at PT, I only sold like 40 to 45% because the put stopped moving from here, which is also why it was really easy for me to sell the second that PT hit because from this white line and below, the puts didn't gain $1 in value. They completely flatlined and they kept oscillating between the high and all the way, they kept oscillating between 4.3 to 4.4 and 3.6. So puts lost value. That is bearish for the put premiums, which means that is leaning bullish for price action. And we were chopping, making lower lows. And right when PT hit, made it really easy to sell. And it came by no surprise that that ended up being the bottom. So literally sold the bottom. It was glorious. But now I'm pretty bullish on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is a lot stronger than ES. ES put in a reversal candle. NASDAQ could be bear penning here, but it looks like it's actually breaking to the upside. So I am leaning very bullish on the NASDAQ now. And I did end up filling calls right at the beginning of this next candle on QQQ. Actually, it wasn't at the beginning. It was like, it was actually pretty high into the candle. It was the beginning-ish of the candle, but close to where it closed. Here's what I was looking for QQQ calls. Originally, I was looking for this PT. I did end up editing it a little bit to this high, but this is the general area that I was looking at, right? We had a lot of price action rejections here. I know we had like kind of, I mean, I would consider this like a micro area of liquidity, like a micro pivot, if you will. So this is what I'm targeting, and I'm just looking for NQ momentum. It looks way stronger than ES, looks very good. And we did end up getting there. So I sold most right when it hit. However, I did keep a tiny bit. I kept 2 contracts because it barely missed this high. So I filled those calls at 62 cents. I got 22% at 76. However, we're still in a very bearish trend. And it looked like NQ was starting to maybe flip weaker. So if NQ invalidates my... that was not my fill. My fill was a lot better. My fill was down here. That's what I thought. I don't really know. I filled somewhere in this candle. Anyways, this was my fill. And I said if it gets back below my entry, I will re-enter puts for new low of day for a scalp. Because keep in mind, the trend is still super bearish. I'm just trying to take advantage of where the market is going. And I fill puts here on this candle. Unfortunately, I got baited in. So this trade was a win. I stopped out of the last bit just below break even. So I think I averaged maybe 16% on this trade, which was actually pretty good. I was very happy with myself. But the problem is I filled puts. Let me change this. I filled QQQ puts at like the bottom of this candle because, and I even waited. I jumped the gun a little bit. I waited for the last 15 seconds, but within the last like 8 seconds, it flipped into a super big reversal candle. And right when this candle closed, I said, looks like it's going to stop out. I got baited in. And sure enough, that's what happened. I stopped out immediately when it hit my stop loss. And I actually dodged a bullet because I filled my stop loss at, when did I fill my stop loss? I filled those puts at 86 cents. I stopped early at 72 cents, and a couple of them stopped at 71 cents. So that was only like a 17% loss. And shortly after I stopped out, we got a surge of volume. This candle popped, and we got all the way up to here. So very good stop loss. And now, and keep in mind, this is a very fast-paced morning. It was good. It was a good wake up. I came to the computer super tired, but now I'm locked in, right? Now I'm bullish because now we've invalidated a majority of the drop. It's looking really good. However, I don't just reverse here and hop in calls. I need at least one more solid candle. And that was a damn solid candle. ES was stronger than NQ. It was coming up on new high of day. So at the minimum, I am bullish for new high of day. But realistically, I'm not going to sell at new high of day. Maybe a trim if it has a hard time getting there. Because by the time ES is at new high of day, NQ is going to be up here. I'm going to be very bullish for NQ new high of day. And we're also going to have this trend line here on the NASDAQ. So PT's technically new high of day, but especially due to the risk to reward reasons, I'm not actually planning on selling there. I'm looking for the NQ new high of day. I was concerned about a cup and handle because I did go full size. Probably would have been a little bit better to go half size, but the cup and handle was pretty spooky. I was really hoping that it would cup and handle. So we started dropping. I'm like, oh no, because this morning was so great. I had two very solid green trades in a row. Just had a very beautiful red trade. It sucks that I got baited in, but the stop loss, the execution, the psychology was flawless. I really didn't want to lose on this trade. But it avoided my stop loss. We got a beautiful buying wick, and it did put in the cup and handle. Boom. We exploded to the upside. I don't actually sell any here. I'm like, all right, well, I will go for this next pivot now because that is glorious. This is where I started trimming. And this is where I sold a bunch of it. So it was beautiful. I ended up getting, I don't know where I typed it, but it was around 70 to 80% right when it hit this PT. Was really, really, really nice. So now my last PT, because I pretty much only had a runner position left at this point. I did have a runner position left. I had a single contract. Now I'm bullish for NQ to get to this pivot and ES to get to this pivot. So that's what I'm looking for. Well, ES gets there eventually at some point, or it gets really close. Calls hit 4.7 for 98% gains. It missed by one single tick. Oh, wait, give me a second. No, it hit 125% gains there. Yep. It hit 125% gains at the top of this candle. Obviously, I didn't sell there. My sells were more at like 90-ish percent here. But now I had a single runner position because I wanted the, this high. We barely missed this high, and I'm very bullish for NQ to get to this pivot as well. We end up dropping. I said, all right, I'm going to re-enter as a scalp if this pullback invalidates. Not this one. Give me 1 second. And I actually closed my runner on this candle. I know it's still bullish, but it came all the way back down to like a 4.1. Looking back on it, it was good. It dropped. Looking back on that candle, I didn't need to sell. This candle really should have been the sell. But anyways, I said if this drop invalidates, I'm back in. Otherwise, I'm just locking in my gains because this morning was a fantastic morning. I mean, those calls got to 125%. I averaged probably around 85 to 90% on that trade. The previous one was a solid, 18, 20%er, and the previous one before that was a solid 40%er, and my only loss was 17%. It was a phenomenal morning. But I did say a really, really, really good TA trade, very high probability, is most of this drop invalidates. It looks good for the ES pivot. I didn't actually plan on taking it, but I didn't leave my computer yet, and I actually filled it on this candle here. Early on into this candle, I'm like, I gotta take it. So the exact TA alert I sent out is if ES gets back to 57.55, it'll look great. And right when it hit 57.55, I came back in for one more trade. I filled the calls at 3.2, and yeah, I was just looking for that pivot. Got the pivot perfectly. Heavy trim at 4.1 for 28% gains. It did get to 4.4, but I didn't sell the last little bit because NQ missed PT. And then pretty much when the last bit got to, or this is where it got to, this is where it got to 4.4. I didn't sell here though. I had a single contract left again. Keep in mind, I'm so green on the day. I don't want to risk these big trades. I don't want to risk my gains, especially when I'm trying to, I'm tired. I only got 4.5 hours sleep last night. So it got higher. Didn't sell here. Was looking for the NQ. and we dumped and I sold. I'm like, all right, that's a bearish liquidity sweep. I'm still bullish on NQ to get there, but I don't want to wait for it. I don't want to get chopped out of a trade. Surely, though, shortly after I left, NQ ended up getting there. So you guys probably made a bunch more money than I did on that. But yeah, it was a really good morning. The highlight of the morning was perfectly calling out where it would reverse. By the way, well, I should rephrase that. I didn't call out where it would reverse. I had no idea where it would reverse. It just so happened that my TA so flawlessly lined up with price action that I was able to sell the bottom. So that was beautiful, and that was my morning. But I told you guys I'm going to keep this trade review quick because the Apex sale ends in 30 minutes, I believe. So go in the announcements or go wherever. The Apex Trader Funding Sale 90% off flash sale is happening right now. The code is all capitalized RIPS. And I typed it out in the announcements and my alert channel, so don't miss out on that. And as far as the announcement, how many people do we have in here? We have 27 people in here. As far as the announcement goes, I guess I'm going to start live trading my future strategy. Type in chat, why do you guys think I came to that decision yesterday? Not yet. I'm going to probably start trading it first week of April. Give me a little bit more time because I really don't want to do it. But type in chat, why do you guys think I'm going to start live trading my futures strategy? Final says force you to be accountable. Yeah, that's kind of the reason. I've over the last couple of days, I've made some pretty critical mistakes that like heavily ruined the P&L of those days because I was a little bit too relaxed and distracted. Like I was busy doing other things. I'm like, oh, the strategy's pretty easy, whatever. And it is. It's not a strategy that you need to pay a bunch of attention to. But like yesterday, for example, I entered the first trade, was fine, stopped out, took a phone call during that trade while I stopped out and got distracted and completely missed the second short that I was supposed to take. That wouldn't happen if I were live trading. And that's happened twice now. So I could do it myself, but I'm like, that's kind of a good enough reason because my big reason for not live trading is, I'm just chilling out. It's benefiting me a lot more to live trade, but now it seems that I'm a little bit too comfortable. I'm a little bit too relaxed. Not paying, you don't need to pay much attention to the chart, but I'm still not paying enough. So that is the reason I've came to that decision. So starting April, I will be live trading that strategy only in premium though. I'm not doing it in free. It's way too valuable for that. So that's going to start. That's the announcement. But with that being said, does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to let you guys go because I also need to pick up a few Apex evaluations. So, do your new strategy is a set and monitor system instead of a scalping system? Yeah, it's not a scalping system, JBS. Yeah, exactly. It's wait to get triggered in. I'm in a trade, and each trade on the low end will last 30 minutes, and on the high end will last until market close, 2.5 hours. So it's not the live tradings. I'm not going to be talking a bunch. It's going to be a lot of kind of answering questions, hanging out on my phone or doing other things. But live trading is at least going to keep me more present at my computer so I don't make those critical errors of missing trades or screwing up strength and weakness analysis because I wasn't paying enough attention or something like that. So, yeah, JBS, shoot me a message. I am so behind on DMs, guys. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, but they will get resolved. Just ping me again in your DM if it's very important. But all right, that is it for this session. Go buy your Apex evals if needed. I don't know when they're going to do another 90%, but it's been a while. And you guys know me, I never announce Apex affiliate anything unless it's very worthwhile. They did have a good deal for the 80% off, or they did have a good deal for the 300Ks and the 250Ks for only $33 in evaluation. But those are absolute hell to pass It's really difficult to pass those in one day. You need to get so much more lucky to rush to pass those. Um, you will end up saving so much more money just going 50K. So I didn't announce that one, but 90% I will always announce for you guys. And credit to Dev and Joey for that. But all right, I will see you guys later. I'll let you guys know when this recording's posted. Let me know if you need anything. I hope that I respond. There's a chance that I might not. But yeah, live trading is coming. And I will see you guys in back testing in about an hour because we do have that scheduled today. So I'll see you guys soon.